Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to be hopping into map number 2 very shortly between XENON and FNATIC. Map number 1 on Hollywood, admittedly, was a little bit of a one-sided affair. So what do teams do in this sort of situation? They opt to mix it up a little bit, and true to form, we are going to be going to a King of the Hill map.
Yeah, and why teams do this, especially newer teams in there, is sort of the idea that, all right, we might not have the coordination and practice to go into a Hollywood where teams have scrimmed it for so many hours. Maybe we'll go into King of the Hill and hope that our raw mechanics can turn in our favor. Now, based on the last match, I don't know if that's quite going to go the way they planned, but strategically, I definitely understand the sentiment behind going, all right, we're going to switch game modes, go King of the Hill, try and get some early kills and snowball it from there. So we'll see if XENON has a little bit more luck going into Lijiang.
Well, if you're, I guess at the end of the day, it's a really good positive mindset to have as well, something to bear in mind, because you don't really go, oh, hang on a second, we actually lost that by quite a bit. Oh, let's just go ahead and give up. Realistically, you think, right, what's our best chance of beating these guys? Let's go and execute it. So very positive mindset coming out from XENON. Like you mentioned, they are going up against Coolmat and IDDQD, so credit to them if they beat them at this game on Lijiang, you know, very, very powerful.
Yeah, and you kind of got to something important there where even if you're an up-and-coming team, it doesn't do you any good to sort of put a team on pedestal and go, oh my goodness, we're playing against this team.
Yeah.
What do we do? They're so devastating. It's like, no, you want to go in there, you're a competitor, you respect the fact that, hey, they are really good, but we believe deep down that we can be better. It is going to be a rough go going against FNATIC this early, but it's sort of a leveling up process where even if they do lose here, they still gain valuable experience against one of the top teams in NA where, again, they can leverage it and come back next week.
There's a saying in competitive chess of all things, but I actually think it applies really well here. Play the board, not the player. And you know what I mean? You go up against someone who's expected to steamroll you, or at least based on Hollywood, that arguably is the case, and you go, that's fine, we're playing, and we're analyzing our own game, and we want to make sure we raise it as high as possible, and we just want to focus on doing things well.
Alrighty, so we are heading here into Lijiang Tower. It is, of course, a King of the Map or control map as it is known. Both teams will be fighting for control of the middle. If you hold control of the middle to 100%, you win a round, you win 3 rounds, you win the map. And FNATIC going to be looking for 3 quick rounds here to bring their way into the round of 16. And here we go, both teams on it right now. They're running right out into the middle. And Dro, what do we see?
Well, we've got IDDQD already trying to lay waste, but unfortunately hitting a Winston bottle for most of that. And he actually gets taken up by Hobbs very early on, who is playing Winston. Oh, pardon me. No, that's actually McCree. We saw Winston drop on top of him, which is Rage. And at the moment, it's a little bit of an all-out brawl, and I have to say XENON are doing very, very well. Only 1 kill for them versus 3, so they are enjoying their first battle here.
Yeah, that battle went very well for them. They got the first pick off, and anytime you're down at 65 where you don't get anything for it as a team with 5, it's very tough to win that back, especially when you lose one of your DPS players, which they did. So, multiple ways that FNATIC can get back in this fight. Right now, it looks like they're going up the gut, right up the bridge. Nothing sneaky here, just trading off poke, but Elbow Grease having none of it. Able to punish Coolmat for going that far in. Gets a double kill, and Elbow Grease on Zarya having himself a day. IDDQD, though, striking right back as McCree, in fact, on a 3K right now. So McCree, IDDQD is a raid boss that needs to be dealt with right now for XENON as he's keeping FNATIC in this fight.
Definitely, and he gets taken out shortly after that, but he has got Deadeye available when he pops back, so we'll be keeping an eye on that. It looks like FNATIC at the moment, they're not really attacking as a group of 6, they're just sort of piling on when they can, but that is going to change. Transcendence coming down, a minimum of 4 people standing on the point. Hobbs looking for a couple of kills with ultimate, not going to find it. Custer actually takes him out, and now we see the tide turning in FNATIC's favor. Yes, it's 45% in favor of XENON right now, but FNATIC with the momentum.
Yeah, FNATIC got 3 kills there. They're going to take it back. And the thing about the garden stage here on Lijiang is that it can be very difficult to actually come back and retake control of that center point. The people that actually control it can be very aggro and preventing you from getting on the bridge. They can stop you as you go to the back room. So FNATIC here, I expect them to sort of exploit this as much as possible as XENON tries to get back in here on this point. Otherwise, though, they do have a Graviton Surge. Both teams have a Graviton, so next fight should be fireworks.
Indeed. Well, first Graviton Surge coming out. IDDQD looking for the kills in the back. He spots the skulls. He connects. Elbow Grease and Muimi both going down, as does IDDQD, taking a little dip, unfortunately.
Yeah, he gets knocked right off by the Winston, and then, oh no,
wow.
Zed, what are you doing? That was an unforced leap.
This is like Observer Curse we're seeing right now, man.
It is. Apparently anyone we go to at the odds is going to get knocked off or jump off on their free will. Rage ends up going off as well, so a little bit of a bloody fight there. I thought XENON had a chance. They do not get it quite yet, and Buds right now takes out Hobbs pretty early.
So both, I feel like we're cooling off a little bit and resetting to actually try and get the teams a little bit more together. It feels a little bit less frantic and there are fewer one-on-one battles, and it looks like XENON are trying to get together for a coordinated push. Zen going out with the Zarya bubble, trying to deal as much damage as he can to start things off, but IDQD picks him off from afar. And oh, with Rage going down as well, this has to be a reset now. It's going to be so difficult for XENON to push in.
Yeah, the problem for XENON that I don't like about how they dealt with that is that they were diving into the backline, but IDDQD was not a priority. They were going more for the supports, but you can't really do that. Right now in this meta, especially with how powerful McCree is, you have to treat him as a stronger priority to leap in on, especially with all that IDDQD is doing. I mean, you look at the kill feed, he is pretty much the main DPS driver right now for FNATIC, so they got to get on him a little bit more effectively. Here comes Groundton, though, pulls in everyone on the XENON side. IDDQD with the Deadeye fall through, gets the double kill. Zen trying to do anything in the back, not going to happen. In fact, Buds comes out the Dragon Blade to pile on just a bit more. They pull up the Transcendence because why not, but it's not going to be enough.
I mean, if there's any consolation, Zen was shooting IDDQD. He identified the priority, and unfortunately, it was just a little bit sound barriered for his liking. So that's going to be a 1-0 in favor of FNATIC. And, well, I think like we said before the start of the cast, very spirited and very purposeful fight back. I didn't see any, like, oh, defensive, we're really scared because we're playing FNATIC coming out of XENON. They were giving it absolutely full tilt, all the hammer and tongs. They took the point first, they played very positively.
Yeah, no, things went well with XENON at the beginning of that, and again, I just think the issue there is that they need to focus on IDDQD a little bit more. He got just way too much done, especially as fights degenerated, so if they could leap in on him, treat him as more of a threat, I think that would be the adjustment they need to make here. See how things go, though, as we head into the control center.
All right, and this is always fun. Small enclosed areas, potential for a lot of aerial play, so Genji could be seeing a lot of fun times here. We'll take a look at what Buds has to offer, and immediately going straight into each other. Coolmat69 taking a little bit of damage on Winston early on. You mentioned he has a little bit more of a variety on those heroes. We're seeing a bit of that here. And the first play is going to be Hobbs going down to Stu.
Yeah, and what you saw there, FNATIC did a really good job of getting to the back, isolating Hobbs. He was their first target, and why not right now with what McCree is able to do to that? So they snowball then the 3 extra kills. IDDQD takes out Hope from long way away, and Zarya, I'm not sure if that was a boop or she just wanted to leap off to actually get back up in time.
Credited to Lucio, so I'm going to give the benefit of the doubt to a boop, I suppose?
Yeah, it was hard to say from that angle from what you saw there, but either way, a very good start right now for FNATIC. And it's going to be rough here for XENON to retake this, but they might have to wait, maybe waste this next push, wait for some ults to come up, because Buds will have Dragon Blade up sooner rather than later.
Yeah, and that's going to be very dangerous on this control point, especially. At the end of the day, it is a very tight and closed space, and he is rushing on through. He gets Dragon Blade. He's looking maybe for a bit of heal. He finds the heal, and are we going to be popping the ultimate? He's waiting at the moment. Reaper was actually onto his case, but the rest of his team are swooping down on him now.
Yeah, that was 4 kills coming out towards the backline. IDDQD and Buds just absolutely cleaning up. And now you look at this lead up here to the next fight. The offense has a sound barrier. The defense has everything but sound barrier.
Oh, man.
This really for XENON, I think their best chance here is that they save sound barrier in this next fight. Try and burn off some of these ults. Groundton Surge comes out immediately here by Stu. Pulls in 4 people. Hobbs, though, immediately firing back. Does take out Stu. So this is a 1% advantage despite the start, and they still have the sound barrier, so this is not the worst for XENON. They lose McCree in the backline. Bud's now going off with the Dragon Blade. Takes out 2. Looking for Zarya. Should be able to get this last pick. Big plays coming out here from Buds.
Yeah, there was the potential for them to survive a little bit longer with the sound barrier, but I like what you said, ZP, and I'm pretty sure they are doing just that. They're saying, right, let's get a couple more ultimates up and save this up for the next fight. So I think Muima, very purposefully there, didn't try to preserve the life of the team, but instead is going to be going for a more powerful secondary push.
Yeah, and what they're going to be able to sound barrier here. They will have Death Blossom up, and they lead with sound barrier. Zen does not have it just yet, but they do take out Coolmat right away. So a 1% advantage here for XENON. They are rushing onto that point, trying to get an all-port next kill. Buds, though, reflects right into Hobbs' face. The ninjutsu unable to be handled. And now here comes FNATIC, turning this right back in their favor. IDDQD with the cleanup, and just piling on after Buds' reflect skill.
Very, very nice. Think about it. How close you are to McCree when that happens. That's some pretty badass ninja skill right there.
Yeah, I mean, Genji, if nothing else, he has those cyber enhancements. He has the reflexes to do it.
What's your reaction time? Negative. All right, so we're coming out for round 2. Oh, and Buds is having none of it. He's like, no, get back in your spawn where you belong. Zarya, I'm coming for you. Where's the ramp? Where's the ramp? They do manage to kill him off, though.
Yep, so FNATIC able to take the control center pretty dominant. Now we're going to be heading here to the last stage, which will be the night market. And we'll see if XENON can do anything to turn it back in their favor. But right now, they have to do the reverse sweep in multiple senses of the word. They have to reverse sweep Lijiang, win the next 3 rounds. And then after that, they would, of course, have to reverse sweep the series by winning the next map. So it's now a tall order for XENON and FNATIC looking for the kill.
Yeah, they're definitely looking to come in and put this beyond doubt. XENON, on the other hand, this would be a pretty epic comeback. I'd pay to watch that.
Oh, it'd be huge. This would be one of the greatest comebacks in Overwatch history. So for me, I am secretly rooting for XENON here. But IDDQD leading the way for FNATIC, going to be rough.
Indeed it is. So we're going to be starting off. Also, XENON have some of the... they have really fun player names. Elbow Grease, excellent name. Strong choice.
I would expect Elbow Grease to, he is on tank, so it does make sense. A lot of times your tank players have
Tracer?
more of the crazy, crazier names.
Yeah.
All
right, we're starting off now, and both teams just skirmishing out in the middle of the map. Vonathil, unfortunately, getting a little bit of damage done, but managing to get away in time. And then the DPS players going down. Hobbs the first, followed by Wild there. So very difficult already to start things off. Control point hasn't unlocked yet, and we more or less have a complete wipe already.
Yeah, things worked out really well for FNATIC. Nothing too much in particular, of course. IDDQD had a pretty good follow through to start things out. And you see that a lot of McCree players right now, where once that first pick goes in, they will just go in and clean up the rest. So FNATIC now in a good spot. They're going to be able to stay outside the doors a little bit more, set things more in their favor. And for XENON, it's going to be rough. I think they have to hope that someone on FNATIC perhaps gets a little bit over aggro here. But oh my goodness, My Fish getting taken out from so far away from IDDQD. That's 2 kills here from FNATIC to set things up. And this push is already over, Jerome.
Yeah, that was beautiful. That second kill in particular from IDDQD, that swooping across the screen headshot there that he managed to plant was just excellent. And they need a way to take him out, and they need a way to take him out right the heck now. There is no more waiting. 33% on the final point that allows FNATIC to basically swoop in for a clean sweep. XENON's time to act is right now.
Yeah, XENON needs to go in. I mean, again, maybe they want to burn away some ults here. Zen is holding on to his Dragon Blade. We'll see if he uses it. Was under assault there for a while. Was able to get away. IDDQD, meanwhile, picking up 2 kills once more. Using McCree to his advantage. Gets a triple kill. So we have Zen here in the back, but IDDQD is cleaning up the front and then some. It's even
you can't reflect Primal Rage.
And for a Genji to get knocked off like that in the one area where he can't wall climb back up, that is rough.
Ouch.
Really good stuff coming out here from FNATIC, operating on all levels. Coolmat regulating the back. IDDQD regulating the front. And now for XENON, time is quickly running out for them, Joe. They only have about 2 good pushes left.
Yeah, and unfortunately, for at least one of those good pushes, FNATIC have just been saving up their ultimates. So they have 4 available, and IDDQD is most of the way through getting a Deadeye. Well, and of course, we all know how quickly that charges. We have a bit of action here. Graviton Surge, and we're getting the Blade out for Bud. He's looking to go to town. So far, 2 kills unanswered for FNATIC, and this is going to go down to the final push.
Yeah, and the problem is there, I think they might have been better off just dying quickly. They did transcend the stay in the fight a little bit longer, but now
so
they've
sneaky.
sacrificed the ability to go for another push. I think their play there was really just to, eat the death and come back in with Sound Barrier and Transcend, because now they're not going to be able to come back in here at full strength.
Wild sat on the point and got it to about 90% while that team fight was happening. Super sneaky stuff coming up from XENON, but unfortunately it didn't quite work. There's overtime bleeding down. There's the 3-0, and FNATIC wins 2-0.
Yeah, and unfortunately, usually I'd like to say, okay, there's this ray of sunlight here and all the rest. Really, FNATIC just sort of slammed the door on XENON in all sorts of ways. I guess the one thing for XENON, they did have a good attack on point A. But other than that, they sort of collapsed from there on out, just sort of out-harassed in all levels of the game. And more so than anything else, I think when we talk about what happened here in Lijiang, they just need to get IDDQD a little bit more heavily than they were.
Yeah, it's very, very well played, though, it has to be said. They were extremely strong. IDDQD didn't exactly give them any favors. He was absolutely all hell breaks loose from the get-go, and doing a very good job en route to we have to say, a very, very dominant FNATIC victory there. So we are now joined back at the desk by Machine. How was your short break? Are you huffing and puffing this time?
You know what? I was very careful. I casually walked over. No cardio for me. Of course, we've realized my cardiovascular capacity
Too much for the day.
is 0.
You've done yours for the day now. That's it.
Yeah, no, that was fine. That quick walk over to the desk. I'm feeling good. I think that this is what we expected from this matchup, and so I feel like we can now take the opportunity on the desk to actually open up the forum for discussion more openly regarding getting better at the game, where these weaknesses, what are the footfalls that these lower tier teams fall into. You guys have probably, I assume, over the course of casting Overwatch, experienced some of these one-sided affairs more than once. You've seen these games where FNATIC or another large organization, beats up the little guy. And we're trying to appeal to the little guy, You know what? It's called the Overwatch Open. So anybody can join. If you're saying at home you think you might be that little guy, you think you could perhaps take on XENON and get yourself a couple of points to get closer to those playoffs. These kind of teams, these newer teams, what are these mistakes that they often fall into very early on, ZP?
Well, it's interesting because you have strategy mistakes and all the rest, but I feel like, looking at the last game that we had there, oftentimes a lot of it just they're not at the same mechanical level. You can have all the strategy and coordination in the world, but if their McCree is hitting far more shots than your McCree, if they're winning all the sort of individual 1v1 setups that you get in Overwatch, if they're just getting outplayed, it doesn't really matter at that point.
Okay.
You just have to up your sort of general level of skill. Where you see things like strategy and otherwise come more into play is when you have a team like, say, We United, that has a lot of really mechanically good players but don't always have the best coordination. Those are the teams that can benefit. But in here, I think we just had a raw mechanical mismatch.
And I mean, I understand that, and it's easy to like kind of just basically say, okay, he's got playing a hit scan hero, he's playing a hit scan hero, and he's hitting more shots.
Yes.
But away from that, you know, in terms of like positioning the healer, tanks having a good situational awareness, like I feel like there is more depth to it, John, or is it really that as simple as clear cut as mechanics?
I think it's kind of two levels. So the way I see it, and I guess the way we just spoke about on the show last week a little bit, is that if you assume it's 50% mechanical brilliance, without that mechanical brilliance, you are just going to crumble. So if you take that as your building block, the rest of it, it becomes
Foundation.
Communication and coordination. This is the reason why, earlier, before the Overwatch Open, everyone was looking at Anox going, oh my goodness, these guys have such pedigree, they're going to be amazing. And initially, the teamwork and coordination honestly just wasn't there until we saw them burst onto the scene last week. Well, I say burst onto the scene, they've been here for a while, but get into the final and, you know, they steamrolled Reunited and Rogue. And it's there for a reason. Over time, you build that up. You do have to be close to, or in Anox's case, exceed the raw mechanical skill of many of the other teams first, though, and you do have to have that as a foundation.
And, I mean, yeah, you made a very good point. I mean, you talk about pedigree. This is what we've, you know, had the great pleasure with Overwatch is you've got every single game under the sun has kind of brought some of the cream of their crop into this game, and we're seeing it clash. We're seeing Quake players go up against Shootmania players. You're seeing some old Call of Duty players show up. Like, everyone is testing their might, and it's really fun to see how that is playing out. But that was just a round of 32. We actually have a lot more to look forward to. Our next game, we're going in towards the next bracket, so the round of 16, and it's going to be intriguing. We're going to see how One Shot and Liquid plays out. It's going to be an intriguing affair. I think one of you guys has the great pleasure of casting it at least. We get to see what Liquid are capable of in One Shot. That should actually be quite a close game. A lot of the round of 16 here in North America is close. It was tough to call which one we wanted to broadcast. For now, we take a break, though, and when we do come back, we're diving into another fantastic best of 3.